Hello everyone to the tournament report of Crypts of Halle 5, the Warhammer Underworlds tournament past Saturday, and I had to make a choice that day as there were actually two Warhammer Underworlds events running on the same day. One, on the other hand, was the Benelux Clash in Den Haag, and then of course there was Crypts of Halle 5 in, well, Halle. Now, as the title tells, you can see what I picked to attend, but the reasons herefore were that I, on the one hand, already had my golden ticket anyway, and because the Theo of Halle is a Rocky the Flemish community and one I consider a friend. And finally, Halle is about 100 kilometers less of a drive with gas prices and stuff, you know. Now, this tournament is the first time organized at this venue, a basement of an actual church, and then it became a matter of which warband to take along. My Shadeborn to do a throw for the crown? Elefane for a sure bet at the prize support? Or something completely different? No, I opted to finally start doing what I said I would do. Burn down the Underworlds, as I bring the Dawizar of the Blood of the Bull finally to the table. Finished only moments before the event and featured here a few days ago, they went out for the first time. I took an extreme deck with me, containing no less than 20 glory, pillage and plunder Emberstone Sentinels with no ambition to go on the offensive and only do a single tippy-toe into enemy territory. The plan is to stay on my half and do my thing, hopefully outscoring others that way. And it will be the first get used to the warband outing, as I will take them to the Worlds in Barcelona, because the word of Hasud has to be spread after all. What's even more, as a lover of narrative gaming, I donated a small prize to be handed out to the highest classified faction Dev Warband in the final rankings, because that was fitting in the crypt of a church. Talking prize support, there was a very lovely pool sponsored by Top Toys in Halle, as well as some free bases and a printed model from Signum Games, the latter to be handed out to the person unfortunate to end in the last place. These were donated by Nico from Winkleworks. And so, gathered in the crypt of the church, a very lovely and light venue I must say, with a bar, we were with 10 players in the end. And the pairings were drawn up to start the conquest of the church grounds and desolate them for the Dark Father. And my first round paired me against Thibaut, who played the Luncord with a deck combination of Emberstone Sentinels and Nexus of Power. The goblins immediately took to the fore, but my armor kept me out of harm's way for the most part, and the Dawizar started to score passively. With only a single point of difference within the first two rounds, as he had used up all his push and guard tick going into round 3, I was able to save those up, and a landslide of glory came my way, resulting in a 22-14 victory for the opening game today. This brought me to the second game against tournament organizer and reserve player Johan, with his Hetman's Curse running Blazing Assault and Deadly Synergies, something that proved a strong showing in previous events this year so far. But he flanked on some attack rolls, my armor remained largely undented, and I could quickly take down the headsman himself. While Grisk was running havoc in the backlines after appearing there through hidden paths, the little bugger scoring 6 glory on his own, the rest kept the ghost in check. I even only played 2 ploys and 2 upgrades over the whole game, grabbing a 25-6 victory. Meaning it was time for the lunch break then, as Thai food was delivered and the voting of the best painted warband happened. The paint level of this edition was immense, and I included a little video right at the end here to have a look for yourself. I also want to thank the person who gave me that 1 point here. But then it was time for round 3, and I went up against the also undefeated Wim and his Colonel's Heralds. And lo and behold, there was Blazing Assault with Countdown to Cataclysm, because there's always that person. Now, after Maastricht, I had a serious disliking for that combo, but also worked around it in my deck. Truth to be told, while I lost the game 12-24 after being tabled in round 3, it wasn't that one-sided at all. Wim got priority on all 3 rounds, and this saved him in both round 2 and 3 from either losing his big axe guy or his leader, as he could strike first with his too many dice 3 damage fighters as a result. And I don't start those rounds with my Demon Forge dice for some added defense. Had I gained priority, he would have lost a fighter for certain, and the game would have swung totally the other way, so it was a nice intense affair with some intense positioning. Standing at 3-1 now, that brought me on to the 4th game, and I faced Wouter and the Sons of Velmorn, running Deadly Synergies and Hunting Grounds. So if I kept mostly to half of my board, his deck would be seriously hampered. Which I did for the most part, and that paid dividends. The Sons hit hard, and they have excellent defense, but for the most part I tried to avoid them and score my passive glory cards. While I lost more models than him, I took away a fairly straightforward 20-11 victory in this round. And that meant that somehow I was still vaguely in the running for the top spot, standing at 3-1 just as Nico, my next opponent. While Win was at 4-0 at that moment, and he would win his final game as well, taking home the win. But Nico had the one warband I really feared, and had I not finished my Chaos Dwarfs, I would have brought those as well to the event, namely the Exiled Dead, running Wreck and Ruin with countdown to Cataclysm. And the zombie horde did swarm me indeed. I lost no less than 3 models in the first round, and it looked like a crushing defeat was coming. But somehow Imnidrin went above the Call of Duty, refusing to go down as the sole survivor, and still scoring a nice amount of glory in the end. As a result, I went down 13-18, but actually more than against Colonel's Heralds, I had never had the feeling I really stood a chance in this game. And that left me at 3-2, but the amount of scored glory was the first tiebreaker, and as such I went onto the podium with the 3rd placing. Not too bad for a warband I never played before and a deck I never tried out, learning the flow of it on the spot during the event. The tournament ended with the following ranking as a result, after a day of battling it out in church grounds. First place was for Win with Colonel's Heralds, going 5-0 with 98 scored glory. Second place was Nico with the Exiled Dead 4-1 and 80 scored glory. And third place was for me with the Blood of the Bull 3-2 and 92 scored glory. Thibaut also went 3-2 with the Grincrank's Loon Court, having 76 scored glory, while Hirt with the Crimson Court also went 3-2 for 76 glory, sorry. In 6th place came Nicolas with Iltari's Guardians on a 2-3 with 72 scored glory. Johan with the Headman's Curse went 2-3 with 68 glory scored. And Wouter finally also went 2-3 with the Sons of Velmorn and 65 scored glory. Peter with Thanatek's Tide went 1-4 with 66 scored glory. And in final place came Lars with the Hitman's Curse 1-4 and 54 scored glory. And Best Painted was won by Nico with his Exiled Dead, but it was a very close affair with no less than 4 warbands ending within a breath of each other, as the level, as I said, was incredibly high. But the day closed down, and I stayed behind to help Johan clean up and get the materials to his house afterwards. But not before we took some healthy food to recuperate from the day. Did I like the way the Blood of the Bull played? Certainly, though there might be some minor tweaks I want to do to the deck. But still scoring 92 glory without ever going on the offensive, pretty awesome. Might switch out a Surge or 2 and a single ploy, but I'm not entirely sure. The problem is, if the cards come in a good flow like in game 2, these get me about 5 to 6 easy glory. But if they come so far apart, they are dead cards in hand. It's a thing I'll need to look to in the future, but first I'm going to try some other combinations with them until I find a good middle ground between passive and aggressive, as I like having multiple possible angles to play to keep my opponents on his toes. But now, to go and find some models to add to the trophy ranks after the tournament and the conquests of the Dawizar, which is something completely different, and you will have to check this channel to see some more what I mean with that. But that's for in the future, because slow painter and lots on the painting desk. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this little tournament report. And until next time, keep rolling those shields. Well, unless you need dodges. And take care. Bye-bye. Did you like the Chaos Dwarf content in this video and want to know more about Chaos Dwarfs? Then check out the Chaos Dwarf online forum by scanning the QR code you now see on screen. Thanks for watching this video, and if you want to support me, check out the link tree above for all my channels so you can have a look there, or my affiliate links, so there's a little kickback to the channel for more content. And if you really like, you can always buy me a coffee. Thanks and bye bye.